A lot of social media gurus are just simply unrelatable. I'm just thinking out loud. I vividly remember when I got into specifically YouTube and trying to figure out how to create content, what type of content I should be creating, and how to get it visible to the masses. Gurus talking about post everywhere. That was the thing. If you could show up in more places than other people, you would get visibility and you would grow. And I vividly remember thinking that is nearly impossible for the solo creator. And I'm sure you're in the same boat. Like, as a solo single operating content creator and still having to get your content, and now you're saying I have to put it on all these social media platforms multiple times a day. I just knew that listening to that advice was just simply unrelatable. That had to be for another type of creator, a creator that had a team. Because back then, before we had AI, as that crazy as it might seem, we didn't have AI until just a couple years ago here. You had to do this manually. In order to do this manually, you needed as a team of people, whether that was virtual assistants or in-house personnel. Trying to do all this video editing by yourself was just simply not something that was going to happen. And if it did, you were going to quickly burn out. Now, I use that as an example because even today, we still have a lot of gurus or self-proclaimed, people that know what's going to happen before it happens. And they're just kind of using it as clickbait, saying what we should do as creators. But I really want you guys to think for yourselves. I want us all to think for ourselves right now. What can we do in our creative journey as influencers, as content creators, as YouTubers, podcasters, whatever it might be, that will actually help us grow and move the needle? I remember in later 2020, as my YouTube channel was growing, I was growing really fast, 0 to 20 some thousand subscribers in that one calendar year. And I had a class on how I was growing my YouTube channel. And the perspective that I was able to give as a teacher to my students was that of a perspective that was really close to where they were in their journey. Like, I was literally getting started that year and they were literally going to get started that year. And as I continue to grow and progress on my channels and the information that I've learned as a content creator, the skills that I've learned, the equipment that I use, I'm further removing myself from the beginning stages. And I don't like that, but that's just the reality of it. One of the classes that I was asked to teach as part of a workshop was how to overcome the fear of being on camera. Now, if you would have asked me this in 2016 when I first jumped on behind a camera, at that time it was a webcam on a platform called Periscope. If you remember Periscope, put that in the chat. Let me know if you remember that platform. But I was on that platform for the first time and kind of had to introduce myself to the world. I had a skill set, how to live stream to these different platforms before it became a real big thing. And I was showing people how to do it, but the only way I could really show them was to be on camera and kind of show them what buttons I was actually clicking on. And so I had to learn how to get past the fear of being on camera back in 2016. Now, this year, I've been doing this for a while, that teaching someone or kind of helping them get over the fear is a little bit different because I don't have the fear of talking to the lens anymore. I don't like talking to the lens anymore, but I know this is a way to generate revenue as a content creator, and it just simply works at the end of the day. But how do I get over the fear of talking to the camera? I don't know. I mean, other than putting a little dollar sign on the lens, I mean, it's my motivation to actually go and do the thing because I'm confident in what I know. So as we think about how we're obtaining information and who we're learning it from, make sure you also understand the context of what they're sharing with you. I mean, there's going to be things that sound really good. There's going to be things that sound like you should do, and you probably should to, learn certain aspects of a platform that you're focused on. But there are other aspects that if you try to implement at this stage of your journey are just simply unrealistic. So at this stage of my creator journey and starting this new brand and getting it started from the ground up, solo by myself, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on some of the things that I know I need to be doing, even though the gurus say, hey, you should do this, you need to do this. I'm doing it all by myself. So I think right now, just taking those incremental steps and letting it grow organically and focusing on the major things first and actually just getting started is going to be the best way for me to move forward with this, with other content that I create, other business and family life and nonprofit church life. Like, I actually want to live my life and not be bogged down to having to do all of these different things in order to explode this business from 0 to 1 million in 6 months. Like, it's just not realistic. And I'm comfortable with doing it systematically in a way that I am able to grow it, in a way that I'm able to grow it without getting burnt out and wanting to quit 4 months into it. You know, most podcasts don't get past episode 7. Most people on YouTube fail at just even uploading a video. I can't even tell you the amount of times I've shared with people that have come through my YouTube class how to grow on YouTube, and I'll go and look and they never upload a video for whatever the reason is. And I just don't understand why we're taking in all this information when we know we're not going to apply it. So let's continue to work on ourselves as content creators, and let's focus on the things that we can control. If there's good information that you really, really think you should implement, figure out a way to implement it in the way that works for you. You don't necessarily have to do it exactly how they did it. Customize it for how you need to do it. It's just me by myself. I'm just thinking out loud.